So we're going to go have a look at the goats. They've accidentally locked themselves in the shed, or in the paddock rather. There's a paddock here, you know. And there you go. I just enjoy having them, you know. They're just a great, and not a lot of people have goats, you know. And the funniest thing is, if I ever have to bring them to the vet and I put them into the back of my car, and I'm driving that and passing like, through traffic or whatever, and people look, like, is that a goat in the back? They see this animal's head with horns and in the back of the car. In being a beekeeper, I found that, you know, I'm connected with the wildlife. It's like if you're a farmer, you're naturally connected with the land and the farm. In the same way, through the bees, I'm connected with the flowers and the insects and everything that goes on around me, because my bees are part of that cycle of things.
Seán keeps the hives at the back of the field, up on wooden pallets. There's no fence, no sign, just 2 boxes under the trees.
I've two hives, and I have them sitting on a couple of old pallets. And the other thing I find odd about these two is how differently they behave in some ways. Is these ones always tend to come around the mouth of the hive, you know, the doorway there on the hive. But the other hive, they tend to spread themselves out over the front of the hive. And I don't know why they tend to behave differently, but I think it's just the individual character. We're just going to take the rock off and just lift up the lid and actually have a look, see how they're doing. So usually what they do when they're collecting honey is they collect the honey in the middle frames first. So we'll have a look at the middle frames and then see how much honey is in the outer ones. See if they're fairly full, I might be able to harvest this honey early rather than leave it much later. Now, so here we go. So when you're what you want is nice smooth actions, no kind of really jerky, kind of noisy, bang kind of sounds. So let's have a look. So there's plenty of bees on the top. There we just might pull up the middle one and we'll see what it's like. And sometimes they can be quite stiff because they're propolis. And they're being quite calm. So we can see a fair bit of honey on this. It's not completely full. That's the middle one. So if the middle one is not completely full, then I'm not going to bother going near the rest of them, you know. So if the middle, my finger's caught there. Okay, so they're getting a little bit angry now, so I'm going to put the lid back on. There we go. That's grand. That's all I need to check. See what they look like. Just see. So if the middle one is not full, it means then that they're still collecting. So it's still early enough. So I've got to move back a little bit. Let him calm down. I've taken a frame out of another hive here, just to show you what the frames look like. This is a super. You can see it's quite a small frame. And this is the one that has the honey in it. And you can see that it's made of this kind of lattice work that the bees make. And what the beekeeper does is puts in a flat sheet of wax foundation, and the bees build it out into this honeycomb on both sides of the sheet of wax. This is some honey already in the hive. It's been capped. You can see where there's a kind of a cap on it. And what the beekeeper does in fact is he gets a knife when the frame is full, gets a knife and scrapes all the cap off, and then puts it into a centrifuge and spins it, and it weeps all the honey out of it, and then gives the empty frame back to the bees to fill for their winter stores. So we're just taking the honey. We're not wrecking their all the work that they've done in putting together the frame, the honeycomb. Here's a frame that has honey in it, and you can see I've tried to get the honey out of it. The cap is gone, but because this honey is ivy honey, which is the last honey of the season, the problem with this is it's very crystalline and it doesn't flow. So I couldn't get the honey out of this frame. My bad, really, because the fact that I left it too late in the year to be harvesting the honey. So that's one of the things I learned as a beekeeper, not to leave it too late, is to do it in August rather than September or October. Or you get this result. So basically I'm going to have to really strip all this wax out of it and put in fresh wax, start again, you know. So that's what the super frames look like, you know.
Seán mentioned a tradition I hadn't heard before, that when someone dies, the bees should know.
One of the ideas in Ireland particularly is the idea that the bee hive was part of the family. So if somebody died in the family, particularly the beekeeper, somebody had to go and tell the bees that the beekeeper had died, that there had been a death, you know. And there was a play produced some time ago called The Man Who Wore Women's Shoes, about a man who couldn't speak, but he could make all these animal sounds. And on a visit to a family, finds somebody has died, and the wife says to him, "Will you go out and tell the bees that my husband has died?" So he goes out and he's able to imitate the bee sound, and he tells the bees. So this is the idea that the bees weren't isolated, but were part of a kind of that consciousness of the bees being part of a family, you know.
As time went on, Seán started sharing more photos, memories, fragments of the life that surrounds him. A baby bird, Ireland's only native lizard, and other quiet moments that don't ask to be remembered, but stay with you anyway.
This is little NASA. Well, she was little a couple of weeks ago, but not so little anymore.
None of it grand, but all of it noticed. And once you see it that way, it's hard to unsee.
That's an interesting idea about if bees could speak, what would they say, you know? And I think one of the things that bees would say at this present time is say to humanity, like, you have to take care of the planet because we are affecting it. Whereas before humanity was at a level that we didn't actually affect the planet that much. But now we have our technology, our economy, whatever, is able to affect the climate. And so I'd say the bees, what they would say and do is take care of the planet, you know, as we take care of our hive, like you have to take care of the planet. I think that's, you know, and to be conscious of the fact that every part of the ecology of the, you know, are all linked to each other. So the bees are one part, and like that the domesticated bees are only one section of a whole group of insects that do all the pollination, you know, but they're quite a vital part, you know. The wild ones are in difficulty because of disease and invasive species. So now we have to actually take care of them and maintain them. And bring them back into the wild state, really, you know. That's really one of the things I think, yeah, we have to really work on actually taking care of the planet.